everybody, and welcome back to Borderline. Sorry we missed last week. There were actually a few people I think that missed us.
A few. There were a few people that seemed to be pretty upset they didn't have anything to watch on Thursday night.
Yeah, I got a few shout-outs on social media and some texts, and of course Jade saying on Twitter, "Hey, where the hell are you guys at? I got nothing to listen to this week." And some people in Detroit saying, "Hey, where were you guys at?" So sorry, we had. This time of year has been a little crazy, so we just had some technical difficulties. But I'm glad that you're back on the grid. So to make a long story short, so you went to get on the plane. It sounds like last week, and forgot in your phone just dropped out of your pocket. So Julie drives away. You get into the airport, and all of a sudden you're like through security and everything, and all of a sudden you're like, "Holy shit! I don't have a phone."
Before I got to security, I actually went out and tried to run down the thing after because I could see her car, but she was gone. And so, I had to. I went up to the counter, got a paper ticket, all that stuff to get on the plane. But yeah.
This day and age, Bernie. I know this sounds stupid, but when we lose our phones nowadays, we like lose our life. That's especially with all of us working remote. Yeah, that's how we connect with everybody.
It was a weird 24 hours, put it that way.
Yeah. So anyway, so no show last week, but we're making it work this week. I don't know if you like this mural behind me. I'm actually in Milwaukee right now.
Yeah, you went in, man. Check you out.
I look like shit, by the way. It's like gray in here, so I look like an 80-year-old man.
No, man, you're all right, dude.
Yeah, so Kathy, we've just had, as you know, we've had so much going on, good stuff, but we've been so busy with family stuff, right?
Yep.
With the girls graduating from high school, graduating from college, coming home, having parties, and then traveling, with everything that we're doing with work right now. So it's been super busy. And so Kathy, I was joking with Kathy the other day, and she said, "Is Kathy coming on the road at all?" And I said, "Yeah." So she's finally going to come to Milwaukee. And she's like, "Milwaukee?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "I got to get Mama out of the houst. Like, Mama needs to get out of the house, like away from kids, away from the house, away from the animals. Just get on the road." So we decided we come up to Milwaukee a little bit early. My aunt and uncle live here. My dad's twin brother actually lives here.
Oh, right on.
So we're going to try and hook up with them today. I'm going to give them a call as soon as we're done to see if we can hook up with them. But yeah, so we decided to come in and it was funny. We decided to come in, fly in Tuesday, and see the fireworks. And so I got to be careful because I'm in the hotel lobby here.
Yeah.
But funny story, right? So we get here and we specifically book this hotel for the night of the 4th because we hear how great the fireworks show is, and it's got a rooftop bar, so you can. So we're hoping that we can have a drink, have some appetizers, dinner, whatever, and watch the fireworks.
Yeah.
So we check in on the 4th, and everything's fine. And we decide to go upstairs on the day of the 4th. We decide to go upstairs and check out the rooftop bar and see if we can scout it out and see where we want to sit and get a really good spot. It's only about 4:00. We just want to scout it out and then come back later for dinner. So we go upstairs, right? And the Sky Bar or the whatever rooftop thing is just open, and not real friendly. I'm not gonna lie to you. So we walk in, and the hostess lady. This just goes to a larger lesson in life that I teach my kids. And I was taught that when I was in pharmaceutical sales, one of the biggest things you learn early on, really in business and in life, if you don't know something, it's okay to say you don't know.
Right.
Say, I'm sorry, I don't know, but you know what? I know who does know.
Yeah.
And I'll find it out for you. Just like in business, right? I hate people whose first answer is no. Like I can't stand working with people like that. And huge credit to Trey, by the way. Side note, I'm getting off on a tangent. Trey is the exact opposite of that. I love working with Trey because anytime that we're in a meeting and we're talking to Trey, it's never no. It's always, even if in his mind he might be thinking no, he's like, let's see if we can somehow make this work. I love that. Anyway, so we go upstairs, right? And we're talking to the lady and we're like, "Hey, looks like a pretty cool place." And she's just not warm and friendly at all. And she said, "Well, you can sit wherever you want." And we're like, "Okay." And he said, "We're just kind of here to scope it out because we heard it's a great place for fireworks. There aren't any fireworks tonight." Okay, but it's 4th of July. We heard this is a good place. It says online. There's no fireworks. They were last night. Keep in mind, this is the 4th of July.
I hear you.
Said apparently in Milwaukee, all the fireworks were shot off on Monday night. So
That's pretty bizarre.
I'm sorry, I'm looking around because seriously, I don't want to like piss anybody off because we're still here at the same hotel. So anyway, so we're like, okay, that's weird. Well, we just decide we're just going to scope out the area. So we start walking around Milwaukee and looking for a place for dinner. So we find a nice place for dinner and celebrate 4th of July. The two of us just together, no pets, no kids, no problems with the house, whatever. And we start walking back from dinner, walking downtown Milwaukee. By the way, this has got to be the cleanest city that we've been to. I am shocked. Another whole side note, hashtag not Portland.
Yeah, there you go.
So we're walking back, and all of a sudden we start hearing the boom, 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 and we're like, "What the hell's going on?" Like either we're getting bombed or there are fireworks in Milwaukee in the 4th after all. So we hear all the fireworks. We're like, well, let's go back to the hotel and see what the hell's going on. So sure enough, we walk upstairs, right?
Yeah.
And we walk up to the rooftop bar. And we start looking around, and no shit, Bernie, not only there's not one fireworks show. We count 11 fireworks shows from all the suburbs and townships all across Milwaukee.
Right.
It is the best place ever. So then later, right, as the fireworks were going on, the lady, the hostess lady, right, she shows up again, and she walks over to our table, and she's like, "Great view, right?" And we're like, "Who are you? Like, are you the same lady that we just saw at 4 o'clock who said there are no fireworks?" And so I'm like, "Hey, turns out there are fireworks after all, right?" And she's like, "Yeah, great view." And I'm like, "Yeah, why didn't you tell us that at 4? Like, we almost missed the whole damn thing."
Yeah,
Yeah. Anyway, so
what's up with the Rust Belt cities? What's up with the Rust Belt cities? Okay, because you grow up and you hear about Midwestern politeness, for example. And growing up in the South.
Other than her, everyone's been great.
I have not experienced that in the Midwest so far.
Really?
Customer service has been minimal.
Yeah.
And never with a smile on your face. I mean, it has been horrid through Minneapolis, not so bad. Detroit was awful. What's going on? What is going on? I mean, don't put people in positions that they have to, deal with the public if they can't deal with the public. I mean, that's weird. There's a reason why I don't handle certain things in the ACL, because they know with my attitude, it's going to be a problem, right? I mean, that's kind of a manager's job. I mean, it's weird. It's just been awful. Rust Belt, thumbs down.
Yeah.
Thumbs down on the Rust Belt.
The patience that it has taken behind the scenes for everyone. I've had a couple of conversations with Kat, and I think you and her are cut a little bit from the same mold, that you are not going to suffer fools at all. And the fact that she has not killed somebody yet is probably pretty amazing. But you're right. I mean, there's definitely been some challenges. So all right, so that brings us into the show. So welcome again into BoarderLine. And I know there were some topics that you wanted to talk about. So before we get into cornhole, let's talk about Detroit first and your overall thoughts. I mean, I thought everything. I liked our hotel. I love my room. Love the facility. Just a massive facility right on the water. We could see Canada across the river, bay, whatever that was. I mean, it was beautiful, but apparently some big time challenges behind the scenes.
Yeah, I didn't really have to deal with it. It wasn't really my issue, but just I don't know, man. Maybe it just spoiled growing up in the Southeast. People are just nicer in general. And there's a fake nice to it. I'm fully aware of how fake the nice is. Okay. I grew up with it. I know how it works. People are going to be super nice to your face, and who knows what they're saying once you walk away. Right. But they're going to make you feel good in their presence. And I'm finding that is just not the case anywhere else.
Yeah.
It's just, Detroit. What did the lady say at the front desk for you when they made you park somewhere? It was
the parking was atrocious.
Just
she's like, that's Saturday.
Downtown Detroit, baby. Like, what? What kind of answer is that?
Let's set the scene. So at our hotel, which is right downtown Detroit, for those who have no idea what we're talking about, which is pretty much everybody. Yeah. So we're right downtown Detroit. Just so happens that it's a Saturday night in the big town, and Morgan Wallen's in town.
No, he was gone. Can't use that as an excuse.
Oh, that's right.
He was not there that night, so that is not an excuse.
Yeah, but it was in a casino, so the casino was hopping, obviously. But whatever. The ACL is in town, so I mean that's a big event.
Yeah, big deal.
But anyway, so after our event, we come back, and we're on late. I think we started at 9, so we all start coming back to the hotel about 11:30. There, I mean, it is gridlock downtown, and apparently no parking is available in our hotel anymore. You can't self park, you can't valet. Ryan,
none of that is true. By the way, Jeff, I'm here to tell you everything you just said, not true.
Well, this is what we're being told. So Ryan, Jordan, and Matt Morantz and I are all together in our car. We end up parking over by like the cop station, like 4 blocks away, pouring down rain. So we walk and we are just drowned rats by the time we get back to the hotel. People are yelling. I mean, literally, there was a security officer. Yeah, I know you got into it. So there was a security officer telling this lady in this truck, "You got to back up," and she's like, "No, sir, you need to back up." And he's like, no, you need to back up. She's like, no, you need to back. I'm like, this is like 2 8-year-olds.
Oh, yeah.
Grown people fight. Like literally, there were fights over parking. It was a disaster.
Yeah.
You had a little.
Well, the problem was there was a small, not even fender bender right in front of where the valet park for the hotel was. Right. That's what started the gridlock. The cops wouldn't just move it down the road. They were just yucking it up with these 2 women. And I walked by and I'd had enough and sitting in traffic for 30 minutes for no reason. And I was like, excuse my friends, like, y'all need to move this shit. And I just kind of walked right up to him and it's like, you can't talk to us that way. It's like, people tell me I do my job wrong every day. Guess what? You're doing it wrong.
That's a great point, actually.
You know what? And so told me to move on. So I walked on and then this other cop comes. And so what happens is the valet guys for the hotel weren't doing their job. They're watching the commotion. So valet got backed up and was part of the problem. Once they cleared it, and it took about 15, 20 minutes for them to clear what they were supposed to be doing, then it was open again, but there was another cop that wouldn't open up the valet thing. So that's why no one could get in. It's because 5'5" cop guy being Mr., and trust me, I know how short people are, starts being that guy. And I was like, man, something's wrong with y'all. And I told him, I was like, something's wrong with y'all. You're doing this to spite everyone. There's no reason to do it. Yeah, I'm going to throw you in jail. Then he starts threatening to throw me in jail, all that stuff. And so I walk away. Apparently, Stacy, he took his license, threatened to throw him, threatening to throw everybody in jail other than just, do your job. Detroit, thumbs down. And then the front desk, could have cared less.
Yeah. Next day, I tried to say something politely in my nice Iowa way. And she's like, "Hey, baby, that's Saturday in Detroit." Exactly what she said to me.
What's
I'm like,
going
really?
on?
Like every Saturday, like it's always that mess. Pretty much, yep. I'm like, okay, no.
Yeah,
no,
and once again,
or let me refund your valet charge.
Yeah, this is no Motel 6, in the hood. I mean, this is a pretty nice place, and just, man, it was Detroit. However, I did walk all around Detroit the next day, that Sunday.
Yeah. So did you end up on the People Mover or no?
The People Mover. I could not.
The
People Mover is like a little light rail, monorail system that just circles downtown Detroit. Right. I couldn't find it the first day exactly where it was, but I didn't really walk far enough because I just didn't feel like walking. The Sunday, I'm like, hey, I'm going to go to the People Mover. Yeah. It doesn't open until 10 on Sunday morning, and I'm there at like 9:30.
Oh, my gosh.
And I'm like, by the time an Uber gets here, it's like a mile and a half to the venue once you walk it all the way. I was like, I'm just going to walk. And so I walked through downtown Detroit. Pretty nice, actually.
I felt, I mean, I've, we've all heard stories about Detroit.
Right. Apparently they cleaned it up.
Our hotel was right by Greektown. We walked downtown Greektown one night. I felt very safe.
Yeah.
There was good police presence. They had it was weird. They had have you ever seen the metal detectors and people scanners before? Did you see those? They had those on the street corners at night. Like they bring them out after 10 o'clock or something like that. They're mobile scanners. Like constitutionally, I have no idea how that works, but I'm not going to lie to you. It makes you feel really safe because there's a ton of people and it's almost like DUI checks, like to get down certain heavy traffic areas, as far as heavy pedestrian traffic, you had to walk through these scanners. And there's no, unlike Portland, there's no, drugs, openly doing drugs on the streets. I mean, there was pretty heavy police presence. So, but again, I mean, in our day and age now, I'll take it.
Sure.
Well, restaurants down there were great. The coffee
after we left,
bakeries, everything was great.
I left you guys at MGM, right? We went over there to see what that was like. I walked back to the hotel. It's a pretty long walk. Ended up being a little over 2 miles, but
yeah,
It's fine. It's no big deal. I mean, it was clean. People were having fun. It's Sunday afternoon. There's lots of restaurants and bars. Everyone's having a good time. And it was, I mean, pretty nice, actually. A lot nicer than, like you said, a lot nicer than Portland.
Yeah.
So what's that tell you, Portland? When Detroit has got you on cleanliness, safety.
True.
Yeah.
Great point.
Time to step your game up a little bit.
Great point. Okay, quickly, two more things.
Yeah.
This is turning into like a Meet Jeff and Bernie segment with all this stuff going on.
Yeah.
All right. Did you have an issue with your flights? You were texting me something about a baby on the plane.
Oh, just
because that knock on wood, that has not happened to me in a while. I thought it was going to the other day because there was a screaming baby waiting to get on the plane. But
I'm not a parent, so I really can't get into this the way I want to. But you know, if you've got a baby like inside of a year, maybe even 18 months, what are you doing? What are you doing taking them on a plane?
You have to travel and see. You have to go see family. You got to take the baby.
Oh, well, they can come see you. You've got the baby.
Not if your parents are old.
Oh, too bad. Too bad.
You're right. You are not a parent.
But no, I'm a human being that doesn't like ruining everybody else's time. and basically, you bring a 9-month-old on a plane, you've ruined 10 rows. You've ruined it. You've ruined your experience. You've ruined it. You've made it a horrific experience.
But
because
for
the
those
baby's
who are
screaming the whole time.
For those who are parents, I will tell you that we look at that, and it actually makes us miss those days sometimes. I know it sounds crazy, but
that is crazy.
But yeah, just like our parents always say, little kids, little problems; big kids, big problems. At that age, I mean, looking back on it now, really, that was not that big of a deal. But we always did a good job.
For you, once again, God, this is so funny how parents can be so. I'm trying to think of the right word. For you, there are other human beings around you that exist beyond you and your baby. And
I'm
so,
just telling you. We always try to do a good job. We were always prepared with snacks, with bottles, with whatever it would take to try and keep them busy. Coloring. Yeah. I mean, we always try to
well, I think it's the pressure too. I think sometimes the pressure.
It is. Yeah, with the babies, they can't help it. Yeah.
Yeah, they can't help it. Exactly. So don't put them in that situation. Is what I'm saying.
Got to go see grandma. That's all I can say. I'm sorry.
Whatever, man.
I'm sorry to ruin your trip.
I was a child, Jeff. Believe it or not, I was a child once too that had grandparents.
Yep. And
it wasn't screaming on planes. They had to come see me until I was like 4 or 5 and actually flew by myself, which was hard to believe in the 70s. They just, all right, see ya.
Well,
see you, 5-year-old. Just jump on that plane and go fly by yourself.
As we yeah. I remember doing that too.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Back in the day, they could literally our parents could just walk us up to the plane.
Yeah.
And tap us
here's
on
a stewardess. Hey, keep an eye on that, will you?
Yeah. Hey, just make sure he gets there, okay? Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I used to fly out to Arizona, see my cousin. I was flying at a young age. So, all right, we ready? We ready to talk some cornhole?
Let's do it.
By the way, don't let me forget. So speaking of, you were talking earlier. Speaking of, and I love that point that you were talking when you were talking to the cops, and you're like, hey, I got people telling me that I'm not doing my job right all day. So if you're not doing something right, I'm going to tell you.
Yeah,
I did get a message from a guy that I want to go over a little bit later.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll do that in our segment later on.
Okay.
Yes, telling us that maybe we're not doing our job correctly.
Interesting. I've heard it quite a bit.
I would do it now, but we got a new segment that we're going to introduce this week, so it's going to be part of that.
I got you.
Part of that. So, all right. First things first. Mark Richards. I don't know. Do you want to start on thoughts on Mark Richards? I mean, I know you text me. You're like, Mark Richards. Like, we gotta. Are you still?
It's almost boring. I mean, I'm passionate about it in the sense that he's so good and he's so methodical in the way that he does things. I think some players try to overwhelm you with talent. Obviously, Mark, to be what he is, I think he's the #1 player in the world right now. I don't think anyone would question it. There are other players you would see that you say, you know what, there's more overall skill sets there. They have more overall game. They can do different things.
Yep.
But Mark is just so ruthlessly efficient. And that's how he just takes people down. I mean, yes. I think if there's a reason why he struggled in shootouts, it's because he can kind of let you get a lead. He can kind of let you show off for a little bit, but eventually he's just going to wear you down, and he's just not going to make mistakes. And so when you're done doing your 4 or 5 rounds of magic and you come back to being normal, well, he just kind of takes advantage of you. And so I think ruthlessly efficient is the way that I like to describe his game.
I think that is absolutely perfect. I do. and that has become his lane, and he is 100% out in the open about it. He is going to be mentally stronger, mentally tougher than every other player out there. It's like Trey and I were talking about this, in that finals matchup. For those who watched the show who maybe didn't see it, Mark Richards won the singles championship in our fourth and final major national of the year, and Trey and I were talking about this, and he Mark Richards beat Tony Smith. Not only was it for the national championship, but it was also to become the new number one player in the world. So Mark outlasts Tony is what happens. And both of them high PPRs. I mean, both of them were shooting really well. But, we got done, and Trey brought up a good point. He said, you can't sit here and tell me that Mark is a better shot maker than Tony.
He's not.
He's not. But to your point, he's mentally tougher and mentally stronger. And if you want to get into a game that's 35, 40, 45, 50 rounds, and you're going to be throwing 300, 400 bags, he's going to beat you here.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right. I mean, I'd like
he's
to
not going to melt
because it's kind of fun we disagree, but I don't disagree with you.
And the thing is, and being so ruthlessly efficient, he's going to put you in situations that, let's say you want to be the shot maker. All right, well, you're going to have to make trick shot after trick shot after trick shot after trick shot to get points, right? Yeah. Well, that works every now and then, but we start to look at the percentages of how many times can you hit these amazing shots, and it starts to drop. Every one you hit lowers your percentage on the next one, essentially. Yeah. And so that's what he's kind of doing to you. He's like, hey, man, you got 3 or 4 of those shots. Those were miracles, man. I don't even know how you did it. Way to get 2 points.
Yeah.
Right. And then he just kind of melts you for a while. And then you're having to stay at such a high level. And it just, I wish, like, Tony Smith to me has kind of become my favorite player to watch because Tony can hit
exciting
anything.
Yep. Exciting to watch.
Any shot you want to throw, he can hit it. Mark's got an arsenal, but Mark's arsenal is efficiency, and it's impressive. It really is.
So I told you I was up the other night, couldn't sleep. #old man problems. You wake up in the middle of the night. I mean, there's nothing worse than being a middle-aged man with kids, waking up in the middle of the night, and 2:30, 3 o'clock, because then your mind just starts going crazy, and then you just can't go back to sleep. It's over. So I was trying to shift my mindset to something that was fun. So I started thinking about the show and things I want to talk about. And I started thinking about Mark Richards. I'm like, what are we watching here? Like, what are we seeing? And I started thinking, Bernie, and maybe you'll go with this, maybe not. I think what we're watching between Mark Richards and Tony Smith is Tom Brady versus Brett Favre. And now go with me on this. I get it. The sport is so young. These guys are young players. I'm not saying that they're going to be Tom Brady or they're going to be Brett Favre, but Tom Brady, if you look back on his career, right, he was efficient, right, and he was pretty much good at everything, right, but he was efficient. If you look at his touchdowns versus interceptions, right, I actually looked it up. 649 career touchdowns for Tom Brady versus 200 interceptions, right? He's just steady Eddie. And think about all of his wide receivers that he liked, right? It was always the slot guy. It's always the tight end guy. It's always the relief out. It's the running back out of the backfield. Can he sling it downfield? Absolutely. He's going to take his shots down the field. But most of the time, it's just safe. It's safe. It's steady Eddie. And he wins 7 Super Bowls. You get Brett Favre on the other hand, right? Brett Favre, 508 career touchdowns. You know how many career interceptions he threw?
600 and something, isn't it?
Oh, no, not that many. almost 350 career interceptions.
I thought it was more than that. Yeah, that's crazy.
So Tom Brady had almost 150 less interceptions, and he played much longer than Brett Favre. But Brett was such an exciting, dynamic player to watch, right? But he always took chances. The problem was, at the end of the day, how many Super Bowls did Brett Favre win in 16 seasons? One. And I think he only got there twice, right? So are we seeing maybe Tom Brady versus Brett Favre? Because I loved watching Brett Favre play. And Brett Favre, he was dynamic. He was exciting. He thought he could make every throw, right? He thought he could make every single throw. He thought he could squeeze everything, through a needle to his wide receivers. Turns out, can't do it, right? He's a gunslinger. And it cost him. It cost him championships. It cost him, wins overall, because he has almost 350 interceptions. And I feel like I'm seeing that a little bit with Tony Smith. And again, please don't mistake what I'm not saying that Tony Smith is going to be Brett Favre. Tony's only 21 years old. I'm saying right now, Tony thinks, just like Brett Favre, Tony thinks he can hit every shot. When sometimes, like the way the game ended, maybe sometimes just survive, right? And you and I talk about this on the live streams. Maybe don't. Maybe just take the foot off the gas for just a second and just survive to the next play. Just hit your tight end, hit your slot receiver, hit Edelman, hit Gronk, and let's just move on to the next play. I
think a lot of what's happening, especially with Tony, because I think Tony's getting tired, and I think, you know, what is that phrase? Something makes cowards of us all, and I think, like, I can't remember what that is, but like I think he simply gets tired. I think he runs out of gas, and this is what Mark does to people. So you have this long day, and then you have these long matches. This is all day. I don't think people realize this. When I'm talking ruthlessly efficient about Mark Richards, he's playing all day. It's not just the couple of hours you see him on TV. They've been playing for hours in a tournament before that to get to that point. And I think sometimes, especially when it's same day like that, I think Tony's running out of gas. And so when he's running out of gas and his arm's getting tired, because you're both doing this in singles and doubles, but you're running out of gas, and I think it's like, you know what? I just want, if I hit this shot, maybe I can end this quicker. I just don't know if I want to go 40 rounds. And I think that's where Mark has an advantage, is he's like, you know what? Whatever it takes. If I got to sit here and have my arm fall off, my arm falls off. I mean, I honestly think that. I mean, I like your analogy. I think going back to my analogy, maybe Mark, maybe the reason why he can survive those long days a bit more is because he is hitting his tight end a little bit more. You know, he's not going for the 50-yard bomb every time. You know, maybe he's doing a better job at pacing himself throughout the day. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, Tony throws a heavier bag. I mean, he's gone to a slicker side. It's not as heavy as it used to be, and he's got a high spin rate. So that requires more effort to do that, and you multiply that over an entire day. That's a lot more effort. But I just think Mark has an ability, and he's older. You know, most psychologists believe that the human brain doesn't fully form until 25. Mark Richards is 26. Tony Smith is 21. So maybe there's something about that just overall adult maturity that comes along. Maybe the ability to say, you know what, I'm here. I say that, and then the two longest matches of the weekend were between a 14-year-old and a 17-year-old.
Right. Yeah. So, boy, we had some marathons, didn't we? I mean, incredible. I still can't believe what Caleb Batson did. Again, for those who watched the show who didn't see it, Caleb Batson at one point hit 52 bags in a row.
72.
Hang on. Hit 52 in a row through a perfect game, and then his next game threw 20 more straight. To make it to 72 straight. Yeah, and of course got all the way. Pretty much got all the way to.
I mean, think about it. He was in 2 40-round games, right? I know they had one 44-round game. He and Jake Gore.
Was it 44 between those two?
One of them. I think they had 2 of them because he came back and they had to double dip in another one. So you're talking just absolute marathons between 2 teenagers. And once again, we were just talking about with Mark, like the level of focus that you have to go 40 plus rounds in high tension. You know, this isn't backyard, right? This is playing for money, playing to get on national TV, high tension, and to have that kind of focus. I don't see how it's possible.
I know.
I really don't.
So much pressure. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's good that Tony's only 21 because he probably doesn't linger on the fact that he's lost, you know, the singles and doubles final now and back-to-back nationals. I mean, they're kids. I don't even
think
know
he's aware of it.
I mean, it's probably a bigger storyline for us than it is for
I think he's pretty aware of it.
Yeah.
I think deep down Tony's confident enough. I think Tony thinks he's probably the most talented player, and he might be right.
He still thinks he's playing good. I mean, I talked to him. He's like, hey.
He is playing well.
He told me, I mean, the first thing he said to me is, I feel good. So he knows like you said, he knows he's playing well. Playing well. All right, we ready to get to our new segment? I'm afraid if we don't start doing this, we still have to get to our power rankings as well.
Sure, man. So. Let's go.
All right, so brand new segment that we are introducing today on episode.
I got my pages. I got all my stuff here. Yeah.
82. All right, so we've been talking about doing this. Like you and I listen to Colin Cowherd. Mm-hmm. He's one of the sports talk radio guys that we listen to, and one of his favorite segments that I do is where Colin was right and where Colin was wrong. It's just great because, again, we've talked about this as a sports talk radio host, as a podcast host, as a commentator. You know what? Sometimes we nail it, and many times we don't. So we've been trying to think of like a fun segment to do. So,
yeah.
In the spirit of cornhole, again, when I couldn't sleep the other night, we came up with this idea of on the board, off the board, and in the hole. All right, so we can do that. We can do this once a month. We can do it each week. We can do it. I mean, Colin does his once a week. I know there's a lot of other sports talk radio show guys who do. Sorry, it's a little tiny fly that's like swirling around my computer. Every once in a while, it comes right up to the camera, so it makes it look like it's a pterodactyl. Trust me, it's like a little gnat.
I haven't seen it yet, but I don't have my glasses on, so I can't see anything.
But anyway, so three things, right? On the board, off the board, and in the hole. So on the board is going to be something that, you know what, looks like maybe we were right on, or maybe we're trending to be right on, right? Mm-hmm. Off the board, something that we just totally missed. It's just something totally wrong, and I've got one. I have several actually. And then in the hole, something just dead right, just dead right on so far. So on the board, off the board, or in the hole. Maybe we call it on, off, and in, whatever. We'll figure it out as we go along. But all right, you want to go first? You want me to go first?
I do want to go first.
Do it.
Actually. All right, so I'm going to start with on the board because my off the board and in the hole are opposite sides of the same coin.
Okay. Oh, this is going to be fun.
On the board, I had Ryan Wiedenfeld beating Alan Rawls in the second round of last week's tournament in their bracket. And I had him winning that side and getting to the king seat match. He almost got there, but didn't quite get there. So that's more of an on the board. So called that one, but I'm not going to go in the hole because it wasn't quite what I thought it was going to be. Off the board, on the board. Deals with the transcendency of player that we've talked about.
Okay. So we doing off the board first?
Off the board is that I will allow, looking back on it, because I made the Tiger Woods analogy was my biggest analogy. There was professional golf before Tiger Woods, professional golf after Tiger Woods. The bottom third of professional golfers on the PGA Tour had second jobs to earn money before Tiger Woods. They were not clearing all their bills. That's what it was. In 1995, 1996. 1997, the year after, you make the tour, you're a seven-figure earner. You're making generational money. And things changed because of one player and the amount that came in. We don't have that yet. But it's not fair because everyone said, we don't know, Jake Gore's 14. What about, and I was like, yeah, but he's not that yet. But that's true. He's not that yet. But maybe at 18, 19, 20, and I'll admit that, maybe if he stays on this type of trajectory and, finds it in himself to become this amazingly vibrant human being that just splashes off a camera, maybe it's a possibility, right? I mean, who knows what at 14, I was so different at 18, 19 than I was at 14, right? So who knows?
God. Yeah.
So maybe he does, or someone of that age bracket does become that person. So I will admit that that's a possibility. However, it's not there yet. And I've been blasted again on this, and people just don't understand what I'm saying. I'm not saying there aren't amazingly talented players. And if I use the golf analogy, we've got lots of Rory McIlroys. We've got lots of Dustin Johnsons. We've got lots of players like that. We don't have a Tiger Woods present.
Scotty Scheffler is a terrific golfer, but he's not Tiger Woods.
Perfect example. If these people really want to know what I'm talking about, that person, Trey Ryder and Stacey Moore's emails would be blowing up from tier one advertisers wanting to spend money with us. That's not happening. It's not. Okay. That will happen when that transcendent player comes along. Every other player in the pro division will benefit from that money. And then you'll have a true pro division where people can quit their other jobs and they'll have this as their only job. Yeah. Obviously, ask anybody, that's not happening. So for people to sit there and argue that point with me is mind-blowingly, I don't want to use words like stupid, and it's just, you're not being logical. You're letting your personal belief and thought on someone override what the actual argument is. And like I said, I'm willing to go back and say, you know what? Some of these teenagers, the 13, 14-year-olds, maybe by the time they're 18, 19, 20, 21, they develop into that. It's quite possible, if I'm really being honest with myself. But it is not a debate that person doesn't exist right now on tour as we speak. They might turn into that.
That you're in the hole and you're sticking with it.
That's what
I like it.
I mean, it's not debatable. It's just simply not debatable. Now, will they turn into it? That is debatable.
Yep.
But being that right now, it's not debatable. So it's in the hole.
And
but same argument. I'm off the board on the other side. They could be at 20 this huge star that changes everything for everybody. So I'm willing to give that.
You could have missed on it, but yeah. But yeah, as far as that person being here right now, it goes back to what we talked about last month. Is that person out there right now? Could be.
But they're not. They're not that yet.
Maybe, but are they there yet? No,
No.
because you're right. Nike would be running after this person and then coming to Stacy saying, "Hey, we're taking this kid. We're taking this guy, and we're."
Tiger Woods got $40 million 1996 dollars from Nike before he ever hit a ball in a pro tournament.
Changed his clubs because of Nike. Nike didn't even make clubs.
Yeah,
right.
They did everything to get it. Just there's different people that transcend the sport. Doesn't mean I don't think they're amazing, if not some of the best in the world. That's not what I'm saying. And people just have this narrative about what we say, and they can't really listen to what we're saying. So,
all right, well, that is a perfect transition. So let me get back to what we were talking about earlier. So I did get an email, or not an email, but a Facebook message. And I will leave his name out of this, but he says to me again, going back to what you were talking about. People tell us we're not doing our jobs right. Maybe this is a good point. So I'm just going to. By the way, this just goes to show you, again, anything that we talk about in this show, I tell Trey about, right? I tell Stacy about. So we are wide open on this show. Sure. And I want everyone to know, if you like something that we say, tell us. If you don't like it, you're free to disagree. We like that, and we do that all the time. So this guy disagrees. He says, and this is at me, not at you. Respectfully, and I'm assuming this goes back to the broadcast. He's probably watching the broadcast. Respectfully, stop trying to always compare cornhole to other mainstream sports. We are our own thing! ! Alex Hicks is not like Tiger Woods as a kid. He is Alex Hicks, a bag throwing kid phenom, period. Okay. So let me respond to that.
Please.
I may partially agree with this, and that's going to get me to my segment on offer in. The first part of this, and I don't know if this is two separate thoughts or if this is one thought together, but when he says stop trying to always compare cornhole to other mainstream sports, never going to do it. Yep. In my career, as long as I'm hired by the ACL, I will always draw comparisons, because anytime that we can make this sport relatable to the common sports fan, it grows the sport.
Not just about cornhole, people.
Fine, but you're wrong. I'm sorry.
Yep.
We need to do that. These broadcasts, our show, our broadcasts are not necessarily directed, to the 256 ACL pros that are there. We direct these shows maybe 60-40, leaning towards the non cornhole pro.
We want the average sports fan to get involved.
So anything we can do, whether we talk baseball, whether we talk NCAA tournament, whether we talk Tom Brady, Brett Favre, any comparison and similarity we can make to another major sport, you're damn right we're going to do it.
Absolutely.
Because that's going to make someone all of a sudden sit up in their chair and say, wait a second. Okay, yeah, I get that. So, but again, I don't know if that's what he meant. I can't tell if there's two thoughts. But going back to his thought about Alex Hicks, basically saying leave Alex Hicks alone. He's not Tiger Woods. He's Alex Hicks. Let me get to my on, off, and in. All right. So and I got to be careful with this here, Bernie. And this is one of those shows. Seriously, we can go 2 hours. I'm going to have to be quick. So my on the board is Jake Gore and Alex Hicks. And I told you this, and this is just a little behind the scenes for you. Going into our TV production meeting, that we have a production meeting 2 hours before every broadcast. We talk about storylines, headlines, what do we want to focus on, and obviously when Alex Hicks made the broadcast in Detroit for the National, even though it wasn't singles, it was doubles with Ryan Windsor, that was going to be our storyline. Right. We wanted to go with, the future has arrived. Tiger Woods is here. The Williams sisters are here. Right. LeBron James is here. Right. I mean, that was the narrative. I did offer a dissenting opinion because it just felt like, I'm listening to all this and I agree and it's exciting. We're trying to give viewers and I get it. But I'm like, wait a second. I'm like, is and we've talked about this before. Is Alex, is he that? Is he really that? Like, and so I just happened to say to Trey, I'm like, are we missing the boat here? Because isn't Jake really kind of a better player right now? Isn't he a better player? I mean, rankings wise, and again, two terrific kids. Please don't, get mad at me for this. I mean, I've talked to both. I feel like I know Jake better than I know Alex, but I got to know Alex really well this weekend. Had a couple great conversations with them. 2 great kids, probably great families. But I was wondering if we were doing a disservice by promoting Alex that big when Jake is really the guy right now.
Of that age bracket.
Yeah. So anyway, so I'm going to go on the board because I've been on Jake now since the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
And the way that he's playing, he is mentally tough. He is mentally strong. He is disciplined. I mean, he is a badass on the boards, and he's only 14 years old.
14.
I mean, he's just there. So I'm gonna go my on the board right now. Jake Gore versus Alex Hicks. Okay. My off the board, and Eddie Grindersleeve. I'm sorry. You are my off the board. I have totally missed the boat on Eddie Grindersleeve. Never put him in my top 10. I don't think I've ever even spoken his name on the show. We've never brought him on as a guest. I guess maybe I kind of fell into the trap that he's just such a nice guy and he's so quiet. He doesn't say much. He just plays. He's killing it. And I've never, ever once mentioned his name. I wouldn't have picked him. I wouldn't have picked him to win. I wouldn't pick him in my top 10. And he is just out there just slinging it now on the singles and doubles side. So my off the board is definitely Eddie Grindersleeve. And now for the sake of time, in the hole, I'm not going away with this. Offense dominates. Offense is what people want to watch. Offense is what creates money. Offense creates viewership. Offense drives sports. I will argue with this with anyone, anytime on this, whether it's baseball, whether it's basketball, whether it's football. People love offense, and the players are delivering. Bernie, I was so afraid, as everyone knows, that this was going to be, a blocker and then another block and then one off the rails and then another one off the back, and we're washing it out at 4s. We're washing out at 6s. We're washing out at 5s. No one wants to watch that. It's terrible. It's terrible to watch. And we're not getting that. We are getting high level cornhole, high level scoring. At the end of the day, the object is to put the damn bag in the hole. And that's what these guys are doing. They're hitting their airmails. They're hitting their roll bags. They're hitting their slide shots and their cut bags. It is incredible what they're doing. The PPRs are through the roof. Mark and Tony Smith put on a show. I had the stats pulled up earlier, and I closed out that window, unfortunately. But, Mark threw like 120-something bags, right? And like 2 were off. And Tony Smith, same thing, threw 120-something bags, and I think maybe 4 or 5 were off. Not only are they not off, they're in. And they are putting on a show. And like I said from the beginning of the season, what did I want to see? I wanted to see greatness. And that's what we're seeing. We are seeing greatness. We're seeing offense. And it is amazing to watch. I get it with the defensive game. I don't want to see it. It's not going to drive revenue. It's not going to drive ratings. Offense wins in sports. And that's what we're seeing this year. That's my in the hole.
Yeah. I think it's a great point. I think people, back to your first point, I think the cornhole community gets remarkably myopic about the game. They don't understand that if you want it to grow bigger, if you want to have everyone make more money, if you want it to be bigger, where tons of people can benefit from its exposure, you've got to get out of your little backyard mentality. You have to. Yeah,
you got to look at the larger picture.
And you have to start looking at the larger picture, and you have to start seeing things for what – it's –
greatness sells. Greatness is what people want to see, and greatness wins.
It's not just about how you and your 2 friends that have played cornhole for 10 years, what y'all think. It's not. If you want the game to grow. Now, if you wanted to go back and just be silly little fun time and you play for, this or that, maybe a shirt or something, if you want it to be that, then that's pretty simple. It can happen. It's easier for that to happen than to go out and bring the rest of the world in, which is what we're trying to do. And that's why we have to go outside the thinking of, a cornhole player.
Goes back to when you tune in to a professional sport, you want to see something that you can't do in your backyard. And that's what we're seeing. We're now seeing guys throw the bag from 30 feet away. And yes, I'm starting to say 30 feet. I'm not doing this 27 feet thing anymore. You know what? Maybe I'm going to start my own company. 30 feet from the line to the hole on the other end. It's 30 feet.
Yeah.
So, we're starting to see incredible shots from 30
10 yards, baby,
which is longer than the 3-point line in the NBA. All right, we got to go. You ready? Power rankings. We got like 5 minutes left for our power rankings. You want to go first again?
All right, I'll go 10.
This was tough.
10, I kept him in only because of the first 3 Nationals of the year. I felt it would be unfair to him to take him out. Alan Rawls, 10.
Alan.
I felt it. I felt like
Okay.
taking him out, but I mean, he deserves it for what he did for the first 3 quarters of the season.
Okay.
Devin Harbaugh, number 9. Pretty big slip, but there are some holes there. Still one of the world's best players, but there's some holes there. Number 8, which is my special number. I bring in people. Kyle Malone, welcome back. Kyle Malone had a great weekend. It was good to see, so I'm throwing him in at number 8. Justin Burton Jr. at 7. Fisher Hamilton at 6. Alex Rawls at 5.
Okay.
Caleb Batson is just that guy right now, and we know who the top. Tony Smith, Mark Richards, 2 and 1.
So wait a second. No, all right. So no Jake Gore for you.
Well, he is in this one. God darn it! See, I did like 9 lists. I've got him in one.
This is a tough one, man.
Well,
this is hard. I had a couple different.
You know what? He's got to be in there. Also. You know what? He has to be in there. So, Alan, as much as I wanted to keep you in because of the beginning of the season, you're out. Love you to death, but Jake has to be in there. You're right. Jake has to be in there. He's just too good.
You don't have to change this because
No, it's not. I mean, he has to be in there. He simply has to be in there. So.
Yeah, I had to knock Alan. Actually, I'm not sure I had him in mind a couple weeks ago, but I don't have him in there again. And it's so funny because I hear Trey and Anthony and Mish talk about the same thing. You know, we don't understand how he's doing it. It's just such a crazy anomaly right now in the sport. You know, normally if it was someone like this doing it, you know, would we rank him higher? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what it is about Alan.
Yeah.
But all right, here we go. Number 10. This might be a little controversial, but I still feel like when I make my list, right? I don't just look at
rankings.
The rankings. Yeah.
Right.
I think in my mind, can this guy or girl, can they still win at a high level, right? I mean, it's power. We're talking about power. We're talking about wins. We're talking about championships. That being said, number 10, Jamie Graham. I get it. Had a terrible weekend. Well, I mean, he lost to Vincent Frisch, then won 5-0, then lost again. First round loss to Vincent Frisch is nothing to seize at. Anyway, so number 10, Jamie Graham. Number 9, Devin Harbaugh. I felt like I had to keep him in there in the top 10. Obviously, he's had a great season. So number 9, Devin Harbaugh, but he's just not winning still. Number 8, I'm the same with you, Kyle Malone. Won a tough bracket. We had to put him back in the top 10. He's back for sure. Number 7, Alex Rawls. Alex actually played really well. Just could not get past Kyle Malone, who was red hot. Yeah. Number 6, I've got Jake Gore. I had to move him up a little bit. I almost wanted to put him in my top 5.
Yeah,
I mean, he won his bracket. I get it. Was it? You know, maybe it wasn't the toughest bracket single side. I don't know. That's debatable. I heard some people saying that. Won his bracket and beat Caleb twice, by the way.
Right. So in marathons. Yeah.
So Jake, I've got him at number 6, and then my top 5. Number 5, Fisher Hamilton. I get it. Didn't have a great weekend.
It's still there.
Cautionary tale for Fisher Hamilton. When you lose, and you get in that loser bracket, sometimes you're going to run into somebody who's also lost. And he just happened to run into Devin Harbaugh. You know,
brutal.
So Fisher has a bad loss, drops in the loser bracket, plays Devin Harbaugh, and all of a sudden
there were a lot of upsets this past weekend. It was interesting. There were a lot of upsets in singles.
That was a tough. Fisher did that to himself. I still think he's a great player, top 5. Number 4, Justin Burton Jr. Number 3, Caleb Batson. Number 2, Tony Smith. Number 1, Mark Richards. All right, those are our power rankings.
Way to go.
Whew. We
made it. Man, I can't believe. All right, so I did 4 of these lists, and Jake's in 3 of the 4. I don't know why I took him out on that one.
Hey, you got it. You got it corrected.
Yeah,
all right, dude. Hey, what a weekend in Detroit. Loved hanging out with you. And you're right, long days, but it was worth it. I thought it was just a terrific tournament.
Nationals are fun. I love nationals.
I do too. So much fun. So now back to the shootouts here in Milwaukee, and then man, I can't wait for the World Championships in Rock Hill.
I'll give you a shout. I'll give you a shout when I get in.
All right, dude. We'll see you this weekend.
All right, buddy.
All right, bud. Thanks everybody for watching. See you later.